Welcome back, everybody. Super Bowl 54 here in Miami. Brent Martineau along with Trey Wingo from Golic and Wingo. Of course, you listen every morning on ESPN690, 6 a.m. until 10 a.m. Good to have you, man.
Hey, Brent, how are you? Good to see you again.
Great to see you. Thanks for being a good friend of the program here. We made it through a year, and you guys have all helped contribute. And
we haven't sunk you guys yet. That's a miracle.
The lights are still on, man. That's a good thing.
I think that's more on you than it is.
No, not at all, not at all. Hey, you having fun here? How many Super Bowls is this for you? You've had great guest lists, and we've been listening to the show, including Gardner Minshew.
Yeah, listen, I just think my first Super Bowl was Super Bowl 27, and this is Super Bowl 54. That doesn't seem like it's remotely possible, but it is. Wow, that's crazy.
That is a lot of them.
Yeah.
And it's elevated a little bit, hasn't it?
Yeah, you could say so. Super Bowl 27 was the last Super Bowl in L.A., and I don't think Los Angeles knew there was a game going. They're like, what's happening? Is it the Oscars? No?
Yeah, I do say that to some folks. I'm like, you go to cities like Miami, New York City, LA, and it's just another event sometimes.
Yeah.
Then you go to other places like Houston, and even the draft is like that. You take it to Nashville, it's just, whoa, I don't know what Vegas will feel like, but some of these cities are so used to big events, it's just kind of another day.
Yeah, the thing, I think the draft will do well in Vegas, but like when the Super Bowl 48 was in New York City, not only did they not care, I think they were pissed. It's like, why are we shutting down Broadway for a stupid sport thing, And Miami, I think, is always a party, but I think it embraces it a little more than some of those other cities you're talking about. But I do love Super Bowls that are in downtown areas where you feel like there's this energy all the time. Atlanta last year was great. Houston was great. Honestly, one of the best Super Bowls ever was in Indianapolis. Now, we caught a massive break with the weather, but everything was right downtown. They funneled everybody there. It was really, really fun.
Absolutely. Do you like the whole clash of sports, entertainment, music, all that stuff? You get to do some interviews maybe that you don't normally do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in this for the football. I'm sort of like, people always say, hey, what do you want in a booth? I'm like, I don't really care. I'm not listening. I'm watching the game,
Yeah.
I'm literally the worst person to ask who should be in the booth because all I want to know is what's going on in the field. So yeah, I get that, and sometimes that's fun. I'm a football nerd. That's the only way I can describe it. I love the game. It's always been my favorite thing since I was a kid. So that's what I'm about more than anything else.
Well, you've been talking about it all year. We've all been talking about it all year. And when you talk about these two football teams, they've been the cream of the crop. I mean, I think Baltimore and New Orleans, I would put them in that category all year long. You're saying they might get to this game. But we've got one heck of a matchup.
We really do. And if we're being honest about it, the Niners were a better team all year long, more consistent, in a tougher conference. In the NFC, we had 3 13-3 teams, and one of them played on Wild Card Weekend, which is insane. And the Chiefs found their way into the 2 seed, courtesy of Ryan Fitzpatrick doing what he did to the Patriots at the end of the season. But I think we all thought they had this potential. And what I love most about this matchup now is that both teams are as healthy as they've been. Now, obviously, the injury to Juan Thornhill, the safety for the Chiefs, is a little bit concerning. But, Mahomes is healthier now than he's been since week 1. Remember, it's week 1 in Jacksonville where he got that ankle stepped on. Then the dislocated kneecap. Then he hurt his hand and all that kind of stuff. You saw in the AFC Championship game that he is fully healthy and running around. He's their leading rusher in each of their 2 playoff wins. And the Niners got back Quan Alexander. They got back Jaquiski Tartt. I think both teams, now they did lose Tevin Coleman, but I think that both these teams are as healthy as they could possibly hope to be heading into the Super Bowl.
We have been, I guess, a little fortunate in the sports world with so many stars this era, from Brady to Tiger Woods to LeBron, right? And obviously the recent passing of a player like Kobe Bryant. Patrick Mahomes, it seems like he's that next guy. How healthy is the NFL in terms of star power as we transition from the Phillip Rivers, the Breezes, even the Manning retiring, and Brady, of course, to a guy like Mahomes and maybe others?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. First of all, Patrick Mahomes is the face of the NFL right now. If you don't believe that, I have bad news. I have land I can sell you and a bridge in Brooklyn, because that's happening. We had Michael Rubin on, the CEO of Fanatics, earlier today on our show, and it's not even close in terms of jersey sales and hats and T-shirts and everything else for Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. So that is sort of where we are. And then you have the Lamar Jacksons and the Deshaun Watsons of the world. It is really an interesting time because that transition is happening. We always wonder, hey, where will those next quarterbacks come from? Right when this one generation is hanging on by a thread, these next guys are here to take up the mantle. It's a lot of fun to see.
You mentioned Jacksonville earlier, that week one. Well, Gardner Minshew came in week one. You guys sat down with him this week here in Miami. How much from afar, we like it in Jacksonville, it's been fun, but how much from afar is he a character? Is he a fun player to kind of watch and see where his career next goes?
Well, what I love about his, air quotes, character, it's just who he is.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like, he is quirky, but it's not a put on. It's not, hey, if I do this, this might be good for me. He is out there living his best life, you know, like going in the RV all across the country and doing all those kind of things. That's just what he's about. And, you know, he wore the jorts on the set, not because it was on brand, it was because it's what he wanted to wear, you know? And that's what I love about the guy. He is 100% real, and I respect anybody who is that comfortable in his own skin.
Absolutely. It's been a tough week around the sports world with the passing of Kobe Bryant. From your point of view, you wake up in the morning, you want to have energy, right, to your listeners, to the people you broadcast to. How difficult was this week in our medium and for the sports world to kind of grasp?
Look, if you do this job long enough, you're going to have a lot of tragedy that you have to deal with. And we've seen a lot of athletes go early, whether it's Thurman Munson or Hank Gathers or Dale Earnhardt. You know, so many athletes that perish early. This one was just hard to take because of how it happened and who else was involved. I mean, it would be one thing. When it happened on that Sunday, it was like Kobe Bryant, well, who else was in the helicopter? Please don't let it be any of his kids. And there were 3 kids, and all 13 years old. That's the part that was just no, it can't be. And then please tell me that it just, the news kept getting worse and worse and worse. And that's what made this one so difficult. I mean, look, the job sometimes is to just do the job. And I felt like for a lot of us, just getting through Sunday into Monday into Tuesday was just sort of like, just find a way to muddle through this together, and then we'll figure it out from there. And you know, the Lakers postponing that game are still trying to figure that part of it out. And it's going to be very difficult for them because they have, if we're including the playoffs where they expect to go deep into it, what, 50 games left? That's a lot. They're going to have to try and deal with all of this going forward.
Yeah, what a legacy leaves behind. I talked a little bit yesterday. Could even elevate the sport of basketball maybe more than it already is because people see what a good guy he was, what he did on and off the court. I think the impact is really being felt.
Absolutely, and what a father he had become and the things that became more important to him. It's just hard, and you know, he leaves behind 3 other daughters and a grieving wife, and who's now a widow. And there were 2 other families that had so many things affected by them in that plane crash. There are 5 families affected by that helicopter crash that will never be the same again. It's just really, really hard.
All right, let's turn this and end on an upbeat note. You guys were down in Jacksonville around Florida-Georgia time, Georgia-Florida time, depending on who you're rooting for. I know you had some fun down there. That's when we last saw you. You also played a little golf, I think.
I did, TPC.
I mean, tell us about the round, man. I mean, you want to go hole by hole, shot by shot, or just 17?
Let's just say we had some good shots and we had some bad shots, and I was happy to get out and play. That's the Reader's Digest for nothing else needs to be known.
You've played a lot of golf courses, though. Seriously, 16, 17, 18 there.
One of the best 3 holes in any stretch on any course anywhere because of what's possible, but also what is possible on the risk side as well, right? Yeah. What was who was the New Zealand guy, Craig Perks.
Perks, sorry.
What did he go, 3-2-3?
Yes, incredible.
I remember when he shook Tiger's hand, he goes, 3-2-3? That's not possible.
Yeah.
Yet he did it.
That gauntlet changes people's lives.
Yeah.
And underrated is 18. Because everybody talks about 17.
That fairway is not a fairway, it's a ribbon. You know, I mean, because
it depends which way the wind's blowing, especially.
But embalming fluid on the left and the jungle on the right. So you think you've gotten an eagle or a birdie on 16, you survive 17, and then you're like, is that like a 4-inch wide fairway out there that I'm trying to hit with everything on the line? It's undone a lot of people. And Perks just did. Was that 05 when he did that? Might have been
earlier than that. It was
02.
Yeah, I think it was 02. I think you're right. Early 2000s.
He was the defending champion. One of the most remarkable things I've ever seen.
All right, so what did you get on 17, man? I'm not letting you off the hook.
Let's just say it was not a 2 and it was not a 5.
Okay, somewhere in the middle's okay there.
I made a bogey, all right? I made a bogey. I missed a 4-footer.
That's fine.
Leave me alone.
That bogey is fine. That's okay. Trey Wingo, listen to him every morning. Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690 in the afternoon. Listen to Golic and Wingo in the morning on ESPN 690 in Jacksonville, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Good to catch up with you,
Yeah,
man.
whatever.
More to come from Super Bowl 54 in South Florida.